just so you know, we will be recording this and I guess everybody was just warned about that. So just so you know, that will be recorded. But I tried to put an intro together, and I looked up Wesley and different things, and there's just so many different directions and everything. The main thing that from the Cornish American Heritage Society is that he was one of our speakers at our last gathering about family thickets, and that I thought was very interesting because it took the genealogy idea and kind of put a whole new mathematical kind of glow over it, and I found that very fascinating. And like I said, I think probably a lot of people in the audience know Wesley better than I do, and I think with the direction he's taking today, it's probably best that he just introduce himself and how he got involved with these Cornish wills. So please take it away, Wesley.
Okay, I'll just say a few brief words and then let Chris start the video because I have pre-recorded the presentation. My venture into Cornwall came about because my father died back in 1954 and left me the Johnston family Bible. And fortunately for me, my great-grandfather, George Henry Johnston, was still alive. And he remembered his mother, her name was Emma Butson. And this started me out on a quest that started in Canada, trying to track down, because my great-grandfather was born in Canada. And ultimately led to Cornwall in 1977, just at the time that Poldark came out. So it was perfect timing. The original Poldark. I'm older than I, but yeah. So that's how I got involved in this. And well, you'll see in the presentation, I give a little bit of background of what led me to deal specifically with the wills. So Chris, I guess go ahead and start the presentation and let everybody see what I'm talking about. Welcome to my presentation on finding Cornish wills. My name is Wesley Johnston, and I've been doing a lot of research and visited Cornwall a couple of times, even though I'm far away in California. Wills and administrations connect the deceased person to those who survive them. Not everyone left a will, but even if your ancestor did not leave a will, their estate may have required administration, and those records are not included in this collection. In 2019 and 2020, I began an exhaustive search of the Cornish wills and administrations on Family Search, looking for estate records of my KEAM relatives. The Family Search collection is titled Original Wills, Administrations, and Inventories for the Consistorial Court of the Archdeaconry of Cornwall, 1579 to 1859. So while I say wills in this presentation, they are really estate files and may not actually include a will if the person died intestate. I found that the actual dates were 1601 to 1857, a period of 256 years. I will give some idea of how I did this later in the presentation. At the time that I did this in 2019 and 2020, there was no overall index to Cornish wills and administrations. So it was a lot of hard work, even though I figured out a clever way to do it more efficiently. Once I had found all of the KEAM family wills, I created this web page to link directly to the first image of each will. So in the period of 256 years, I found only 19 KEAM family estate files. Each entry in the list on the web page has a direct link to the first image of the estate file on Family Search. If I have captured the entire set of images of the estate file to a PDF, The web page has a link to show the PDF, which can then be downloaded. If I have transcribed a document in the estate file, the web page has a link to show the PDF of the transcription, which can then be downloaded. I also send my transcriptions to the online parish clerk for the parish on the Cornwall Online Parish Clerk's website. The Cornwall OPC website has many transcriptions. I estimate that 1 out of every 7 estate files have been transcribed. So you should certainly check the Cornwall OPC website for your parish to see if there might be a transcription of the file. But if you want to see the images of the file documents, or if none of the transcriptions include your family, then there is good news in what I'm about to show you. In early 2022, John Evans gave us a marvelous gift, a complete index of all those Cornish estate records. So now it is very easy to find out whether your family left estates and which files now exist. But it is not so easy to find the actual file, and that's why I will show you how to do that in this presentation. To find John Evans' index, go to the Cornwall OPC website. OPC is Online Parish Clerks, and click on the Resources link at the top of the page. Then on the Resources page, scroll down to the Useful Information section. In that section, at the end of the information on this site list, click on Locating Cornish Wills. This will open a 2-page PDF that gives an overview of the files and how to use the index. At the bottom of the second page of the PDF document, there are links to different ranges of surname letters. Let's see how this works for the 1742 Robert KEAM'S document, which is actually a bond by his administrators, that I showed on my title slide. KEAM'S is in the I to K range, so I click on that link. This opens a 111-page PDF where the column headings are at the top of the first page. I can either search on KEAM'S or scroll down the alphabetical list of names until I find the entries for the KEAM'S and the specific entry for Robert KEAM'S 1742 file. And here again is that image from my title slide. But there is no link to this image from the index. So now I'll show you in the next several slides how to go from the index entry to the images of the original file documents. There are 3 things to note in this index entry. The record is for the year 1742. The family search microfilm reel is 2220864. And in the digitized images of that reel, Robert KEAM'S file starts somewhere in the range from image 1637 to image 1666. So step 1 is to find microfilm reel 2220864 on Family Search. On the Family Search website, click the word Search at the top and then click Catalog in the pull-down menu. This opens the Family Search Catalog search page. We have the microfilm reel number, so we click on film/fiche/image group number and in parentheses DGS. That click opens an additional search bar and we type our number 2220864 in there and click on search. This takes us to the search results page. There is only one result: original wills, administrations, and inventories for the consistorial court of the Archdeaconry of Cornwall, 1579 to 1859. So we click on the name of that collection and it opens the entire collection, 3 screens that list many different reels of microfilm. While you can scroll down and look at every microfilm reel number, the best way to search is to use your browser's search function. Searching on this first screen for 222-0864 does not find it. So you scroll to the bottom of the screen and click the right arrow to see if the search finds 222-0864 on the second page, the second screen. It does not find it. So we scroll down again and click the arrow to go to the third screen and search again. And this time we have found our microfilm reel. So we click on the camera button for that microfilm reel. This opens the digitized images from the microfilm reel. We know from the index that Robert KEAM'S file is somewhere in the range of images from 1637 to 1666. So we enter 1637 in the image number box at the top left and press enter. If your view of the microfilm reel opened in a film strip view, then you will see one image highlighted by being surrounded by a yellow box. If your view of the microfilm reel opened in an individual image, you will see the first image of the microfilm. When you start this search, it is best to use the microfilm in film strip view. You turn on the film strip view by clicking on the multiple image icon at the left as shown at the bottom image on the slide. Once you are in the film strip view, you can easily see the dark start and end frames of each group of images that Family Search has gathered into what they call an item. For the group that includes record images in the range from 1637 to 1666, the item actually begins at the red box at the top row, which is just to the right of the dark image of the end frame of the previous item, which would have been numbered one less than the item for what we are searching. The item begins with the start page outlined in red at the top and ends with the end page outlined in red at the bottom. The first page of information within the item is the green box, which is a table of contents page. The red arrow points to image 1637, the first image of actual records. Where we really want to look first is in the table of contents pages, the green box, and not the first actual record image page. Here in the left image is the start page for item 31 on our film 222-0864. It shows that these are files for reference numbers 753 through 764. The next screen on the right is the table of contents for item 31. Since this is the K surnames, they are actually numbered K753 through K764. They are the reference numbers assigned to the individual files. And we look for Robert KEAM in the table of contents and see that his is the first file. This is good news for us for the search for Robert KEAM, but in most cases you're going to find that yours is maybe the 4th or 5th or 6th or 12th file in that particular item. So you need to see where your file sits in relation to the other files, and that's what the table of contents will do for you. The bad news is that these reference numbers, the K776 for example, might not even be on the images. So you really have to use your desired file's location in the list to find it. You have to see whose files are before and whose files are after your file, so that you have a sense of where you are when you are looking at an individual image in the search of the actual image records. A solution that I used in my 2019 to 2020 search was to try to spot visual breaks in the files. The header images for each specific file usually have mostly white images with a small piece of paper with the file information. For example, in this image, I have highlighted some possible header images with red boxes. If I see in a table of contents that my file is the 5th one, I can use this method to try to start looking in roughly the right place. But it really does come down to looking at the individual images in order to find which file you're looking at and decide whether your target file is before or after that file. It turns out that Robert KEAM'S file is on only 3 images from 1637 to 1639. Image 1637 is the header on the left. Image 1638 is the administrator's bond in the middle. And image 1639 is the inventory of Robert KEAM'S estate on the right. So we have gone to all this trouble to find an estate file. Just what might we find in the file? Here are 2 of the 4 main types of images that we will find. Each file usually has a header sheet, not always, that gives a summary of the record. As we saw with the Robert KEAM 1742 header sheet, it might just contain the place and the date and be mostly a blank image. But as in this image on the left, it might contain a lot more. The executors and administrators of the estate had to commit to a bond that they would properly do their duties. So there was a formal standard printed form for that purpose. The image on the right is the top part of a bond form. It gives the names of the deceased and those being bonded, and it may state the relationship of those being bonded to the deceased. Of course, you may also find the will of the deceased if they made one, and that's what you see on the top part of a will that's on the left. And you will often see an inventory that the administrators made of the goods left by the deceased. Each item in the inventory had an estimated value assigned to it. The inventory was really the core of what the administration was all about. What did the deceased person leave, and what was to be done with it? It is worth taking a bit of time to consider some tips about searching for your family wills. As with all genealogical indexes, be sure to look for variant spellings. In the case of my KEAM'S family's 19 files, I found 5 different spellings of the family name in just those 19 files. Some of them actually began with a C instead of a K. It really also is worthwhile to spend a bit of time to familiarize yourself with what is on a microfilm. At the top left, the control bar lets you zoom in and out, and it also lets you toggle between looking at the entire collection, what I call the film strip, and an individual record. Toggle to the film strip view and zoom out as much as possible. This will give you as high altitude level view as you can get of what is in that particular film. You'll see that the film contains many different items separated by the black pages that start and end each item. Sometimes you're in a particular microfilm and you really need to be dealing with multiple items, and this kind of view really helps in such cases. And that is my presentation. I have many books on Amazon. These 3 are the ones most relevant to family historians, and for Cornish wills, really Cornish parishes and reconstruction of them. The book on the left, Family Thickets, is the one that's relevant. The middle one is about the Chicago fire, and the right one is about finding your father's World War II story. I hope my presentation has helped you to find your family's Cornish estate files. It really is worth looking for, and if you find one, you really might have some new information that does not exist in any other records. Now it's time for your questions.
On the social side, you see, it gives them a chance to.
Wesley, do you have any sense of
It's all over.
my Harper's from in Cornwall, very poor. And do you have any sense of how many people who are really poor bothered to leave wills?
Those would be relevant. That doesn't mean that they didn't have some. In the handout, and I'm not sure how the handout's going to be delivered to you, but in the handout is a link. After I looked at what John Evans had done, my next, I don't know who's talking, but there's somebody talking. But after having looked at what John had done, you know, I decided to, okay, I'm going to work with the Harpers, and I found 62 Harper wills. And those are, I actually have a web page, and that's in the link to that web page is in the handout, which is why I said there's a lot here for you with the Harpers. Definitely you want to look at that. You know, and if you want to jump to it immediately, go to my own webpage. So, you know, there's a link there to the Harper wills as well. But did that answer your question?
Wesley, can I come in and perhaps help a bit?
Yeah.
Because the easy way is to go to the OPC website and look at the introduction which I wrote, which Wesley has referred to already, because I think that will help taking you step by step in the way in which you can locate any particular will.
On the OPC.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I intend to do that. Thank you. Thank you for you figuring that out too.
Well, and thank you very much, John, for I mean, there's something like 60,000. I don't. Do you know the exact count of how many?
It's something approaching 65,000, I think.
Yeah, it's in that ballpark. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, how long did it take you to do that?
About 3 months.
Oh, wow. John Webb, you had your hand up.
Yes, please. Once we've got the 1742 will, it's very hard to read. So there are transcribers out there. Do you have any recommendations as to who is a good transcriber to do that for you?
No, I do my own transcriptions. So, you can see the transcription of that particular will on my website. So,
yeah, John, the answer to your website, look at the individual parish page relevant to your family,
Right.
because you may well find that if they're relevant on each parish page, there is a list that they have already been transcribed. And if you click on the name, which is in blue, it'll take you directly to the transcript.
Yeah, but there are people out there that will do transcriptions for you as well. I
don't know about that.
If you get in touch with us, the chances are a bit for you.
Okay, lovely.
Because we got a great team of transcribers.
Good.
Thank you. Oh, the other thing, sorry, Family Search have now opened up their microfiches on what's called the associate libraries. And I know here in Toronto, I I did a test, and you can go into the Toronto library system, log on to Family Search, and then you get into their microfiche that wouldn't be available on your home screen. That's something that I didn't know if it changed. I only learned about that recently, that all of the local libraries here in Toronto, and I think most big cities have the associate library system, where Family Search microfiche are available.
Well, these are all online already, so
Okay.
yeah, that would not add to what's available.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of stuff that is not when you go onto Family Search, it has that little lock on it, so that you have to go to Family Search shop somewhere. But it's now also these associate libraries do it for you. So I was very pleased with that. Thank you, Wesley and John.
So Chris, when we post this, how will we find it?
So once this is up on YouTube, it will be on our Cornish American Heritage Society YouTube channel. We will also share the link on our Facebook page, and we can also send it out to members.
Chris, you cut out. What, can you say that again? It was on the CAHS YouTube, and what's the other one? Facebook?
Yep, we'll send it out on YouTube, on Facebook, and we can also post the link like in the next TK, and we can even send it out to all registered participants.
Yeah, the link would be
Yep.
best.
Yeah, Yvonne just asked about the handout.
It's in the chat.
Yeah,
It's in the chat right now. You can click on it and download it.
Very good.
And we can also send that out to all participants as well.
Oh, yeah.
I am thrilled to hear there are 62 Harper Wills.
Deb, remember that they're from all over Cornwall. You want to be a bit selective as to which parish you're looking at.
Sounds
Yes,
like this gives us some- I was going to say it sounds like we've got some homework to do now.
Wesley, do you have any more upcoming webinars in the next few days, couple of weeks?
not publicly. I mean, there was another one that I was going to be giving to the Toronto Cornish Association's genealogical subgroup, but for want of an chairman of the group, that group is not going to be doing anything. But tentatively, I'm going to be doing one on Butson, the Butson Y-DNA project right now it looks like maybe September, but so that's still a ways off.
We've got a space for you, Wesley.
Okay. Yeah, I just put the Harper Wills link into the chat, so.
Very exciting. I know they will all be mine, but still, there were lots of them around. John, you're in Toronto?
Yes.
So am I.
Ah, are you a member of our Toronto Cornish Association? If not, why not?
I will look into that very shortly.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Our meeting is on Saturday. It's coming
Oh.
Saturday.
I will
Nancy
be out
will
of
be there.
town.
Well, no, it's on Zoom.
It's on Zoom.
Unfor-
2:00.
You're muted, Deb.
Unfortunately, that's my daughter's birthday, so that's not gonna work, but I would still like to join the society at some point.
Yeah,
soon.
Toronto Cornish Association. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let me ask you, John, how does it work to pay membership from the United States for the Toronto organization? Would you know?
That's an awkward question to me. The answer is send an email into our website, and you will join. We are sadly going through somewhat of a structural revision, and so at the moment you do not have to pay.
Okay,
Very much like the Cornish American
Yeah.
Heritage Society. Thank you,
yes,
for which I thank you dearly.
very good, thank you.
Can I email you too?
I thought you were already on, Caroline.
Well, yeah, I get the link for the
You
meeting.
get the link. Yes, you're one of us.
I just feel all good because I feel
And,
kind of
and
guilty.
we're at Marianne also. Yes, thank you. You're all welcome. Yvonne, we
Good
haven't
idea,
seen you at
George.
our meeting yet, but please do join.
Yeah, you're like one great big family. I just
Yes.
love it. Just love it.
Thank
Got-
you very much.
Got so many friendly people there.
You're kind of a model organization for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. You're doing wonderful things there.
Our presentation is on the first, the middle experience of the TCA from 1904 through to 1964. So that's. I don't know if people get the newsletters from the other societies. New Zealand has just put out their 60th anniversary booklet of their activities, and that was rather nice to receive. So we're all experiencing the same thing and all hanging on. It's rather lovely. You've got to admire the people that did family history back before we had all these easy ways in. My goodness.
My mother did so much research, and in her dying days, she stated, "I'm so glad I did it without the internet."
She did.
She really, I mean, she met so many people, she wrote so many letters. For her, that was wonderful. That was wonderful for the second part of her life.
Somewhere in my house, I have moved too many times, and I have boxes that I haven't opened in years. But some of you probably have heard of A.L. Rouse, and he and I corresponded back, I don't know, the 70s, the 60s, somewhere way back there. And so I have correspondence from him, written in his own hand, but where it is, I don't know.
He wrote
When you talk about the LPCs and all of that, back in the 90s, when I started the Roots Web Cornish mailing list, and some of you might even have been on it back then, and it kind of still exists. Wesley's been trying to run it from Google since Roots Web, abandoned us all. But everything was done by wonderful volunteers in Cornwall who would just go and look stuff up for us and post it on the OPC site. And it was very, very new back in the 90s. And you talk about volunteers and people just giving their time. I mean, we're so lucky today, so much of it is available on the web. But boy, back then it was the people who went and looked up stuff. And that was, pretty amazing. It's quite a history. And there are a lot of us who still remember how that was done.
Yeah, the Facebook group actually probably is the most active now. Cornish, I think it's called Cornish Genealogy. The
Cornish Ancestors. There's one called
that what it
Cornish
is?
Ancestors.
yeah
It's pretty active, yes.
Yeah, the one, the Cornish Gen that you set up and that I resurrected after the Roots Web took them all down. Really does have a few posts every now and then, but for the most part, if you want to be active, it's Facebook now.
Exactly.
Well, if anybody has anything for our CAHS newsletter, I'll be starting to work on that for this quarter. For the deadline would be February 15th, but I usually start putting in what I have around the beginning of February. So if anybody has any information they want to add to the newsletter that we don't know about, please send it to me.
And another big announcement is that we're putting in a completely new website. And hopefully that will be up by St. Pierre's Day. So it'll be much easier to navigate and add additional information to.
That's the only way I found the link for this tonight. Because Wesley had mentioned he did a thicket webinar for the Toronto, or sorry, no, it wasn't Toronto Batch. It was
Fisco.
Befisco, British Isles Family History Society of Greater Ottawa. So we just call it Befisco. And he mentioned at the end of it that, you know, he was doing this one today. And I couldn't find anything online, but I did go to your Facebook site and asked, and was it you, Thomas? Somebody got back to me very quickly. So I do appreciate that. And I posted the link on our Toronto family site, and a couple of people said thank you, but I guess they're not here tonight. I was hoping they'd be able to make it, but
Very good.
Anyway.
Thanks.
thank you.
Any more questions or conversations? It's kind of a quiet Sunday night. If there aren't, thank you very much, Wesley. You've given us a lot of information to
Yes, thank you. It was really
start to
good.
gnaw on, you know? Yeah.
Thanks to John Evans, I mean, for doing what he did. I know from what I did in 2019 and 2020, how long it took me to find those 19 KEAM'S wills. And now that he's done this index, it was a dream finding those 62 Harper wills so easily.
Oh,
A dream come true.
There is also an easier way to find them as well, Deb, because if you go on the OPC website, if you go on the tab search database, you will find an additional search function where you can look at the wills index. So you could enter, for example, your Harper surname, and it would give you all the entries from the whole of Cornwall. You don't need to specify a date. You don't need to specify a parish. You don't need to specify a first name. You can just search against a surname if you want to.
That's good news.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very powerful search engine.
Oh, if we just go to the OPC and put in the surname, what are we looking under? What are we searching under?
When you go to the website,
Yeah,
look for the tab at the top which says search database.
oh, database, okay, all right, and
Yeah,
then,
search database.
and
And
then,
then on that, normally, really the search engine was originally designed to look at parish registers. So baptisms, marriages, burials. But there's now additional searches, and the wills index is on the additional search.
good.
okay, so then we go to wills and then the surname.
Yep. And
Okay.
you'll get a page where you can enter, if you want, a range of dates. You can enter the parish name. You can enter the forename or the surname, but you don't have to. That's the point.
Okay,
If you want to, you can search for the entire county of Cornwall throughout the range of dates from the late 1500s to 1857 with
Okay.
just a surname.
all right.
It'll give you probably quite a big list, and you're then going to have to sort through it to see which ones are relevant for you.
Okay,
But at least you could, it's a good starting point.
all right. Well, we got information here that now I got homework again.
Good homework.
Yeah, fun. Well, that's
Yep.
great. I thank you both for really working really hard on it was benefited you, but it also is benefiting a whole lot of other people. And that's great.
Thank you, Wesley.
Yeah,
Oh,
thanks.
you're welcome.
And thank you everyone for coming tonight.
Thank
Have
you.
fun researching.
Good night.
Fun.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank
It's
you.
early morning
Bye.
here in Cornwall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're a brave soul, John.
John, are
Lovely
you
seeing you all.
is John in Cornwall? Are you in Cornwall, John?
I am, yeah.
No wonder you look like one of the Fisherman's Friends. You know, the Fisherman Friend musical shows just finished today in Toronto.
Really?
It
Yeah,
will be
they
at
make
the
a good
Hall of,
noise.
it will be at the Hall of Cornwall in May in Truro.
Yeah.
I totally recommend it. It's a fantastic show. And they all look like you.
What makes you think I'm not a member?
Because you're in Toronto. Yeah. Excellent show. Just fantastic. So do see it. Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers all.
Cheers.
Cheers.